Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ask YP Now show. This is the show focusing on positive living, work-life balance, living with passion, success in life, not only in life, but life and business, and especially about making the world a better place. And this morning, afternoon, evening, we have with us a special guest, a very good friend of mine by the name of Kathy. Kathy, would you like to say a few words to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much, YP. It's really wonderful to be here on the show. I'm Kathy Barrow. I'm a violinist who was born in the United States and has now lived in Mexico for I don't want to say how many years. So what I do? Well, I started playing the violin when I was 6 years old. I moved to Mexico to play in a symphony orchestra. I'm currently part of the Orquesta Sinfónica del Estado de México, which is the state of Mexico symphony orchestra. And my passion is two things: anything digital and chamber music. And so I've learned how to combine the two into one very fun project. So that's basically what I do.
Okay, so Kathy, I know you as two parts. Yeah, one is Kathy, the musician, the violinist, and the other part as Kathy, the social media marketing guru or genius. Okay, how do you make the transition? Okay, what made you transition from being a musician into somebody that's digital?
Well, thank you. It's actually started about 20 years ago. I own a travel agency as well, and I wanted to
Okay.
promote what I was doing as a travel agent. And I figured, oh, Facebook's a really good place to do this. And from that, when I started doing my own concerts, as a musician, most musicians in the world, we love to play, but we love to play in front of an audience. And so to get an
Okay.
audience is a really important part of what we're doing. So I hired a guy once who did a very good job the first time, a not so good job the second time, and the third time I lost about $1,500 on the concert.
Wow.
And I said, well, if I'm going to lose $1,500 on the concert, I might as well spend the $1,500 on my education. And that's when I started teaching myself about marketing. And this was fortunately about 4 or 5 years before COVID hit. And so by the time COVID hit, I had, I'm still not back up to where I was. I had 1 million views a month on my Facebook culture page.
Can you say that again? How many views do you
A
get?
million views a month. It went between 900,000 and 1.1 million views.
Wow, 1 million views a month. Gee,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so embarrassed to say how many views I get on my page. Ah,
No,
wow.
it was funny because I did something really crazy. I started a page where I'm not present. So it's
Okay.
called Vive Cultura. It's like Long Live Culture is the name of the page in English. And what I do is I promote everything. I promote Van Gogh, I promote Rembrandt, I promote ballet, operas, orchestras.
Mm,
And then in there, I promote my own concerts as well. So I post about 20 or 30 times a day, of which sometimes it's my own stuff. So nobody really knows it's my page. And people just like the page because they love culture. And this is the trick that I found around it, because a lot of Facebook is either promoting oneself as a celebrity or promoting one's business, but there's not many pages out there that promote something that really doesn't have to do with the person themselves. It's just something that, like poetry or art or things like that. And then I just put my own stuff within it, and that cuts the cost of paid Facebook publicity down to almost nothing. So for $200 or $300 a month, I can promote two or three different concerts and fill the
wow.
halls.
Wow. So I mean, if I get it right, you are um you actually putting what is of interest to your target market, isn't it? Because if you talk about your own concerts, these are people who are obviously interested in classical musics. They've got a interest in culture, in the arts. And when you fill your Facebook page with, you talk about all the names of the famous printers, I mean, sorry, painters, the artists, and then you put some music pieces in there, and you quietly sneak in some of your
Exactly.
events. Wow.
Exactly. It's like the 80-20 rule, but it's kind of like 99.91%.
Yeah.
So it's 99% what people want to see, what they're interested in. And I, about once a week, I study what has received more likes. I'm getting back up to where I used to be. I get maybe like 200 or 300 likes a day now,
Mm-hmm.
on various posts. And then I
Mm-hmm.
can figure out the design is really important, because if they like this kind of post, they
Mm-hmm.
like these kind of colors. And so then I go into the different types of colors and I use those for my own posts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just rephrase again what you just shared, because it sounds really really profound.
Okay. So every week I study what people have liked. On Facebook, there's a way to see how what is your top post, what is your second top post. So I study what they like and why they like it. And a lot of times it has to do with colors. And so I take the colors and I use them for my own designs.
Wow, this is one aspect I've never heard before, meaning that you are actually doing an analysis behind the analysis.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know Facebook gives you the insights or the analytics. Yeah, now you're looking at the analytics to really, really identify what's the major. I use the word calling or touch points
Hmm.
that your audience love. Wow,
Thank you. Thank you.
that's really really deep. Okay, and can you share with us some success stories apart from that 1 million? 1 million views or likes. Is it 1 million views? You're saying 1 million
1 million views. Yeah.
views.
There was
Okay, one
one
million views.
there was one time right before COVID that I got 2,000 likes in one day on one
Wow.
post, and reaching out to all of those 2,000 people, it took quite a while. Yeah. But
Wow. So those of you who are listening in, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ask YP now live show. Gee, I'm so excited that I get a bit tongue tied. And Kathy, I'm rarely ever tongue tied. Okay, so Kathy is with us. Kathy is an amazing lady. She plays in the orchestra of a city. She's a violinist. She's a musician, and yet she's an accomplished social media marketer, a digital marketer, and she's sharing with us, her secrets. Yeah. And one of her powerful thing that she just shared with us is that she's not using a lot of paid Facebook ads, because we know those could add into the thousands or hundred thousands. She just used a smart way, and would I say an organic way of attracting people by knowing what they like and what appeals to them. Okay. So can you share with us, Kathy, some of your success stories apart from that 1 million views? What are some examples?
well, one really fun example happened actually like 3 weeks ago, but I'll back the story up a little bit. What I do is I promote five-star hotels, five-star restaurants through their investment in classical music. And it sounds kind of strange, but for example, you have a really good restaurant that used to go more towards foreign tourism rather than local tourism. And so nobody's
Mm-hmm.
coming right now. I mean, you are open, but nobody's coming right now. So just think about Facebook. Isn't it better to say Crazy Kathy's going to play a concert, or today the breakfast is cheaper than yesterday because nobody's coming? And when you put out
Okay.
an ad saying that today breakfast is cheaper, people understand why breakfast is cheaper, right? They know that they're doing it because today nobody's coming. But when you have an event, it's really funny how culture is. First of all, culture is a direct sale. You can
Okay.
you can buy a classical music concert, and you can buy a 2-minute video before the concert starts, and you can say, "Hi, I'm me. I own a fantastic company. You want to buy from me?" And then you buy a champagne toast after the concert, and everyone usually comes up to me and says, "We want another concert. We want another free concert." I say, "Well, that's not my problem. You go talk to the person who bought the concert." And so the turnover is fantastic. For one concert, it was a very small private concert. We had 50 people. 6 people called the investor in the concert and said, "I want to know what you do, and I want to know how we can help you get more concerts." It's a
Is this
very
okay? Okay, okay. But let's dissect this. Okay, so
Okay.
was that concert a live concert?
Yes, they're always live concerts, because if you're investing, and I don't say sponsor, I say investing, because we as musicians, we have to give back to you. So it's a turnover, right? So when you
Okay,
invest in a concert, it has to be a live concert, because when you're online, first of all, my sound depends on your machine. And
okay.
when I'm live, it's completely different. And also, isn't it really fun to network with champagne in your hand.
Okay. Wow.
Right. So that's a part of a big part of what we do.
So so basically, okay, so you provide the music,
Mm-hmm.
somebody invests, meaning that they pay for the event, okay,
Hmm.
and then the event is being held in a restaurant. So is
A
the
restaurant
restaurant
or a
owner the
hotel or a concert hall. It's one of three: restaurant,
okay,
hotel, or a concert hall. Yeah.
okay. So
Hmm.
let's talk about the restaurant. Let's talk about all three, okay? So in
Hmm.
what scenarios would the performance be in a restaurant? How
Okay.
could this be used for business owners to grow their business? Because this is something new to me, you know.
Yeah, it's very very new. So today actually we have a concert like this. We're playing the Four Seasons in the only five-star hotel restaurant in the city, and one very important thing is the music cannot be background music. We have to be the focal point. And so dinner is before. It's optional. Dinner is before. You can come and you have dinner when the concert starts. It's a concert. It's not just background music. And I usually I have interaction with the public, so the public really feels like they're part of the show.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
always afterwards, there's a time where people can speak to me. For example, the concert tonight is really fun. I'm in Mexico, okay? You can't really tell on video, but I'm in Mexico, and the people who have bought this concert is the James. It's a company that works with the James Joyce Foundation in Ireland, and they've just put out a book commemorating the 100 years of the printing of Ulysses, which was February 22nd, 1922.
Okay.
And so you can buy an autographed copy of this book if you come to the concert. And we're going to
Wow.
have
Okay.
flyers that go out on every chair, and we have banners talking about what we're doing. And so this is the type of publicity. So there's a person who wants to buy the next concert who sells really nice wheelchairs. And the type
Okay.
of people who come to my concerts are the type of people who everyone unfortunately at some point in their life might need a wheelchair, but the type of people who go to my concerts are the type of people who could afford that type of wheelchair.
Okay.
And so that's
So those people who come to your concerts, they actually pay for a ticket.
yep.
In this case,
And they're
oh,
very expensive actually. I was figuring it out. The normal background, if you hire a quartet to play background music in a restaurant, you get $10 an hour. $10 an hour per person.
mm,
My people get 100.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a completely different thing. It cannot be background music. And I'm teaching people how to use an amazing thing to sell amazing products.
Well, it looks like you are a visionary in this field, isn't it? Okay. So you're mentioning that in a restaurant, in a hotel. What about, let's say, in a concert hall? How would a scenario play out? In a concert hall.
Concert halls are the best because I have different concerts for each type of place, and so we're planning on the 22nd of June an amazing concert, and I already have figured out what my publicity is going to look like, and it's going to be my quartet with a big question mark behind us because it's going to be a quartet of five because we have guest players, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be. I also really believe in everything being cheerful. I Culture a lot of times is dark. A lot of artists all through history have suffered, but I like to do the brighter side of what's going on. And so, for example, you as a business person who know not so much about classical music, if I said to you, I have a concert next week, I have a concert in 2 weeks actually, and it's about Beethoven and Bill Gates, what do they have in common? You might be interested in going.
Mm, I think I could. I would. Sorry. Yeah. Beethoven
It's
and Bill Gates. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and actually, the answer is that they were both business people, and Beethoven was better.
Ah.
Okay,
Okay.
and then I go into and I talk about how he created his own image and how his branding was absolutely perfect from every single painting that he had done of himself, and I talk about that. And so it's not quite talking about classical music, and it's not the normal way of like, now you're going to hear at this point, you get the voice, right? Now you're going to hear at this point that Beethoven did such and such a thing, and the entire audience is asleep, right? So we try to do it in a different way. We try to, for example, that concert's really fun. Um, Beethoven was deaf. Okay, imagine, have you ever had anyone make fun of you? Right? Everyone's
Okay.
at some point in their life,
Yeah.
everyone's had someone, someone's made fun of them. If you type in right now, caricature of Beethoven, deaf, you'll get the stuff that was plastered on all the walls in Vienna when he was still alive. And then I say, what kind of music would you write when the whole world's making fun of you? How would it affect you? And then you start thinking of yourself like as a business person, and how much negative and positive affects you as a business person. So a lot of my concerts are geared obviously towards business people. A lot of my audience is that way, and so I try to reach them in a special way and not talk about what happened in the past, but how that human being lived and what has that to do with you.
Okay. Interesting. I would say two things: interesting and deep, because you are giving, you are stretching people's imagination, isn't it? Like Beethoven
Yes.
and Bill Gates, you are
Mhm.
putting a twist to things that make people think, and therefore, this way of publicity will definitely have much more impact than a straight up presentation. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. Right. So let me just sum up what you shared so far. So you are a musician. You promote your quartet, your orchestra, right? In a way, that is innovative. You get to tie up with businesses to promote their business using your music and your musicians. Okay, so how does this whole gel come into the topic of this evening, social media?
Well, I think in order to help other people, you have to know how to do it yourself. And there's
Okay.
so many coaches out there that say, I'm a coach. Are they successful? Are they successful coaches? I mean, I think that when you're hiring someone to help you, you have to understand, you have to know that this person is successful in what they're doing before they start to help you. And I think
Okay.
that's a really important thing. So um, you can I actually, it's an accident that I became a virtual assistant because I started working for a woman. I met her online at a BNI meeting, and she said, oh, you're a
Uh-huh.
violinist, can you come and play at my son's birthday party virtually? This is right at the beginning of COVID. And I said, great. And then about 2 weeks later, her virtual assistant quit, and she said, you have 1 million fans on Facebook, do you want to become my virtual assistant? And I think that is a really important thing. If you're going to become a virtual assistant, promote yourself first, because that shows that you can do good work for other people.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. If I'm gonna ask, if we're gonna put out a question to all the virtual assistants in the world, there will be millions of them. How many of you got 1 million followers on your Facebook page? I think many will say, "Well, oops."
Yeah,
Okay,
because it's
good,
really
good.
important. It's really important. And a lot of the ideas that I come up with are things that I've done myself. So, for example, if I'm doing a LinkedIn campaign to get people to an event, it's because 3 weeks ago, I got 50 new people to a physical event through inviting people on LinkedIn. So I can
Mm-hmm.
say it worked. That's the difference. So
Okay,
you're not if someone's paying you to do a job, you should have at least some background in what you're in your ideas.
okay. So, so we're gonna ask you this question, okay? Uh, if somebody, wants to start, using a virtual assistant services and so on, how should they start?
That's a really good question. They should start by figuring out why they want one. Okay,
Okay.
because this is something that's happened to me a lot. Oh, I'd really love a virtual assistant. I have no idea what I want to do, but can you help me? That's the hardest type of client, and they don't have an image, they don't have a logo, they do, and they want the miracles overnight. Hiring a virtual assistant, and especially for promoting on Facebook, um, it's not so much to close sales as it is to create your image so that the sales become permanent afterwards. Because, for example, you look at there's an amazing guy that I study with, Billy Jean, lives in San Diego, and you see an ad of his and you chuckle. His ads are always funny, they're always uplifting, they're always very good, and you say, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
maybe I want to give him $150 of mine. Who is he?" And you go and you check his Facebook page. And Billy, of course, he posts like every half an hour. But if you want to buy something, you go to the person's page and they haven't posted for the last 2 months. Are you going to buy something?
Probably not.
Exactly. So that's the really important thing. It's not so much about creating the sales, is it is being part of the funnel so that people know you really exist and that you've spent the time to show people that you're really there.
Okay. Um, is there any particular industry where it works better for people to use virtual assistants?
I would say anybody who does not post themselves 3 times a week needs a virtual assistant because it is painful when you have to do it for yourself. Okay?
Okay.
And if you aren't posting 3 times a week, you're losing business, not because of the lack of publicity, it's the lack of closing. People are always gonna check you out. They're always gonna
Okay.
check you out when you offer something online. Okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go carry on, Kathy. Yeah.
So I would say that's a really important part of it. You need to figure out exactly what you want because you'll be spending too much money if you don't.
Okay.
Okay.
So the topic for this evening's Ask YP Live Now show is how can outsourcing double your business? Okay, right. So I want you to speak into this question or this topic, and giving examples of what you actually do to help your clients increase their sales. I know you shared quite a few stories already, but let's speak directly into this topic.
Okay, I'll give you a personal story that happened actually last week. Um, I've been doing the publicity for my concerts in 2 different places, and they've actually outsourced my work. They hire me now to do the graphic design because I think, probably one of the best in the city at this point. So they hire me to do the graphic design, but they do all the publicity themselves. So now all I have to do is show up and play. So now I have the time to promote myself in other concerts.
Mm-hmm.
You only have a finite amount of time. And if you're spending 10 hours a week doing your own graphic design and figuring out what you're going to post, when you could be using those 10 hours a week to study, to learn how to do something better, to figure out new programs about what you could do, take the easy stuff, give it to somebody else, and that gives you time to help you grow your business.
Absolutely, that's what I always, I'm the work less and more expert, and this is exactly what I tell my clients. Don't try to do everything. One of the biggest reason why a lot of business owners, and especially those that call themselves entrepreneurs, why they work so hard and they feel so stressed and overwhelmed, is because they try to do everything themselves. Why
Exactly.
wouldn't you look for somebody like Kathy, who is already accomplished into getting the creatives, or the visuals, the graphic design right, gets the copywriting done well, and know how to figure out Facebook to do the correct type of posting a couple of times a week, right? That should be the way to go, right? So, Kathy, apart about helping people to get to create their visibility online using Facebook, are there anything else that you do for people or for your clients? Yeah.
Um, Yes, like I was saying, I do graphic designs for events. When you do a graphic design for an event, it's very important how you do it. I help people design their events, and I help them with the wording for the events, and I can teach them. I can give them private classes on how to do this for themselves also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very amazing place to pull people into events. And so, for example, I
Mhm.
have one client now who I spend about an hour, 2 hours a week teaching her exactly what she needs to do to promote her own events there.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, you're able to coach people on a weekly basis
Hmm.
on doing the right activities. Okay,
Hmm.
previously you're sharing with me that you do something with Zoom. Are you still doing that now, or you since stopped?
I used to do a class on teaching people how to use classical music for marketing reasons. I actually have not done it precisely because of what we're talking about now. I needed that time to do something else.
Okay.
My business is exploding here in town, and what people in Ireland and I are doing now is we're making a whole archive so we can take this and export it. Our first place actually is probably going to be Australia, in Melbourne. I didn't know. I don't.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow.
So a little close to home, yeah.
Okay. So, to our listeners, whether you are live here listening to us or you're listening to a recording on this on the various um, platforms we are screening this. Actually, this live show is now currently streaming on all the various Facebook pages. It's on Twitter, it's on LinkedIn, and it's also on the YouTube channel. So, Kathy, I know you're famous, but this evening you're even more famous. Your broadcast has been multiplied by 8 different platforms. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Wonderful.
So before Kathy gets too busy, and I know that she's also got all her concerts lined up, and various clients that she's helping. Before she gets too busy, I know she's also building her own team. Get hold of Kathy to help you. To I suppose the first thing is to figure out, isn't it? Help you figure out what you need and what
Exactly.
best to be outsourced, right? And
Mhm.
I was always thinking that even if you're running a brick and mortar business, right? Nowadays, the world has become so competitive that you have got to be present uh, online or digitally, right? And and I know for myself, I've got this habit now. Every time before I get on a new client or if I want to research somebody, I'll go into Facebook to see what they post on Facebook, and I'll go into their LinkedIn account. So these are the two places I go to check people out. Oh, of course, the third one is to Google them, and I want to know what's their digital footprint before I even start talking to them. At least I go in very well clued to know what to say and what not to say, and to know whether they are authentic or not. I guess is a keyword now, right? So,
I would give one really very important bit of advice. What YP said is now worldwide. People hire people because of their Facebook pages. When you're angry or upset, don't post. Don't post. Put yourself out there as a professional, positive person. Because as
mm,
YP just said, how many times have you looked at an angry post and said, maybe I don't want to deal with that person?
mhm, mhm.
You know,
Very, very true.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. And I would say that sometimes I know I could be I could be wrong, but I would just say that sometimes even when you feel very strongly about something, don't post it yet. Not only angry, but if you've got strong elements, especially if it's political
yeah.
or religious,
Mhm.
yeah, because you just don't know how people are going to interpret what you say, isn't it? Even if you have got the best of intentions, it
Exactly.
could be misread. Yeah,
Yeah.
so take some time before you post.
Exactly. Look at it. If you're thinking about it, this is what I do a lot. If you're thinking about it, save it, come back in the morning. The morning is when your mind is more rational. So
Yeah.
morning is a really good time to look at what you're thinking about posting. Yeah.
Hmm. So, Kathy, we're coming up to the half an hour mark right now. Okay, what are your final advice or tips for people wanting to double their business by learning how to outsource, especially to somebody like you who is very well clued into social media marketing?
I think the first thing is to figure out exactly what your funnel is, to do a lot of work before you reach out to somebody, because there's a lot of virtual assistants out there who are like, oh, sure, I'll take your money. Yeah, we'll work on what you want. Don't worry about that. We'll work on what you want. But if you go to someone with an exact funnel, this is what I want to do. I want to sell 10,000 um, um, entrances to my very, very small program so I can build it up from there. Do you think you can help me do that? And how would you do it? And how much would you charge to do it? Have an idea before you come in, because everyone's going to say, sure, you want an entrance to the gym? Here's your price, right? Maybe we'll teach you how to use it later, right? So this is very important when you're talking about a virtual assistant. Know exactly why and what you want from that person.
Okay. It's very, very good advice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
And I hope I've been taking your advice because
Yeah, you have.
Kathy has been working for me, what, for more than a year now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. The best
Right.
boss in the world right here. So, yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So just before we go off, okay, I know that all of you are enjoying, this evening show. So the Ask YP Live Now show is on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Singapore time. There's GMT plus 8. For your own time zone, it would be slightly different. I mean, not slightly, it will be obviously different, but it's regularly on the same day. And this week we're talking to Kathy, talking about how outsourcing, instead of doing everything yourself, can double your business, so that you as a business owner, you as an entrepreneur can focus on the larger things, the more strategic things. Okay, right. So next we're gonna have another presenter, another amazing business owner, and he's gonna come us and share with us, how to give presentations that convert. Every single one of us, we are out there making pitches. We are making proposals. We are uh, proposing ideas. Even it could be internal ideas. Pitching to your boss, pitching to your team about certain projects. All the time you're giving presentations. So how do you give presentations that's got so much impact that people are compelled to say yes, or people are compelled to give their best thoughts and make the project even bigger? So that's next week's topic, okay, which is how to give presentations that convert. They'll be on Thursday 26th at 7 p.m. Singapore, Manila, Hong Kong time. And for those of you who do not already have a copy of the digital version of my book, let me give you the link. Yep. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a copy of the 10 proven strategies to work less, earn more. So this is YP Live signing off, your work less, earn more expert. And Kathy, shall we say bye-bye to, our audience?
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Great to be
Yeah,
here.
we're
Thank
just
you.
going to play a little outro, and then we'll say bye-bye to you.